Good morning, dear students. I am Dr. Ivy Banerjee. Today we will be learning the charts based on alkalosis. Now, in the MBBS first prof exam, you will be given some charts. In the charts, there will be some clinical picture, and the clinical picture may relate to the acid-base disturbances. Then you have to diagnose whether it is alkalosis or acidosis with the precise cause of it. Now, before going to the proper charts, let's look at the reference values of some important parameters. These parameters will help you to diagnose the acid-base disturbance as well as their cause. Now, the blood pH, in case of a normal person, it will be about 7.4 and the range will be 7.38 to 7.42. And in case of acidosis, the blood pH will be less than 7.35, and in case of alkalosis, the blood pH will be more than 7.45. And in case of alkalosis, the dissolved bicarbonate level in the system is to dissolved carbon dioxide level in the system. This ratio will be more than 20:1. That is, the dissolved bicarbonate will be 20 times greater than the dissolved carbon dioxide content in the blood in case of alkalosis. Now, in the normal human body, the serum bicarbonate level falls between 22 to 28 milliequivalent per liter, and in case of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, the reference value is 35 to 45 mm of Hg, and in case of partial pressure of oxygen, it is more than 80 mm of Hg. But practically, it is always more than 90 mm of Hg in case of healthy adults. Now, the serum chloride level is falls in between 102 to 109 millimole per liter, and in case of sodium level in the serum, that is 135 to 145 millimole per liter, and normal or reference potassium level in the human body is within 3.5 to 5 millimole per liter. So, these are the reference values of some important parameters which we need to diagnose the alkalosis or acidosis. Next slide. Now, before going to the chart proper, let's look what are the types of or the broad classification of acid-base disturbance. As you know from your theoretical classes that the acid-base disturbances will be either alkalosis or acidosis. And remember, according to the cause, the alkalosis and acidosis can again be classified into metabolic and respiratory. This classification is according to the cause. Now, in case of alkalosis, what happens in case of alkalosis? As the name suggests, that the system becomes alkaline. That is, the pH will be higher than the reference value. When it can occur? It can occur due to metabolic causes and respiratory causes. In case of metabolic causes, there will be primary base excess in the system. Now, what is the primary base in our body? That is the bicarbonate. So, the bicarbonate will be excess in the system, then it is metabolic alkalosis. But when the alkalosis results from the primary acid deficit, then it is respiratory. Now, what is the primary acid in our system? That is the dissolved carbon dioxide. And you all know that the dissolved carbon dioxide depends on the functioning of our respiratory tract. So, it is respiratory alkalosis when there is low dissolved carbon dioxide level in our system. That is the primary acid deficit. So, metabolic alkalosis and respiratory alkalosis is clear. Now, coming to the acidosis. This is again typified into metabolic and respiratory one. And here the thing is just opposite. In case of metabolic acidosis, there will be base deficit. So, the system becomes acidic. And what is the primary base? That is the bicarbonate. So, the bicarbonate deficit is there and it is metabolic acidosis. And in case of respiratory acidosis, there will be primary acid excess, and that is the dissolved carbon dioxide excess in the system. So these are the main acid base disturbances with their classification according to cause. Next slide. Now the steps of assessment of acid base disturbances. Whenever you are given a chart in the final exam and the clinical picture is suggestive of a acid base disturbances, what you should do? You have to proceed in a stepwise manner. What is the first step? That is, look at the pH. What is the pH? If it is lower than the reference level, then it is acidosis, and if it is higher than the reference value, then it is alkalosis. So first thing is done whether it is acidosis and alkalosis. And what is the next thing you have to look for? Now the next thing you have to look is at the status of some important parameters. These are the status of serum bicarbonate, dissolved carbon dioxide, and partial pressure of carbon dioxide and partial pressure of oxygen. Now this point will help you to diagnose whether there is base excess or base deficit is there, or there is acid excess or acid deficit. Now what is the utility of knowing this point? This will help you to diagnose whether the acid base disturbance is due to metabolic or respiratory cause. So this is the second step. First step, that is diagnosis of acid base disturbances, that is acidosis or alkalosis, and next step is to determine whether this disturbance is due to metabolic or respiratory one. Now lastly, you have to look for the cause or precipitating factors or associated electrolyte disturbances or other features. Now there may be some hidden cause or precipitating factors behind these acid base disturbances. This we will be discussing later in this speech. And the associated electrolyte disturbances are very common in case of acid base disturbances, and there may be some other abnormal parameters, like there may be high blood sugar level or high blood ketone level. These you also have to you also have to look on these factors. So this is the stepwise assessment of the acid base disturbances. First, what is the pH, then what is the serum bicarbonate, dissolved carbon dioxide and partial pressure of carbon dioxide and oxygen, then what is the cause of the acid base disturbances, metabolic or respiratory, and lastly what are the cause or precipitating factor or associated electrolyte or other parameter disturbances. Clear? Now I am going to the next slide. This is the chart proper. Now in the exam you will be expecting these types of questions. A 44 years old man attended emergency complaining of pleuritic chest pain and dyspnea for previous 2 days. On examination he was breathlessness at rest, had a large pneumothorax while he was breathing 60% oxygen via mask, that is high flow oxygen. His ABG analysis was done and the results are pH 7.46, bicarbonate level 21 milliequivalent per liter, partial pressure of carbon dioxide 27 mm of Hg, partial pressure of oxygen 92 mm of Hg. What is the provisional diagnosis? Now, as I have taught you before, the stepwise manner, you have to approach stepwise manner. So here also the approach will be in the stepwise manner. What is the first step? That is, look at the pH. As the pH is high, so it is alkalosis. Now next, look at the other parameters. In the other parameters, you may see that there is serum bicarbonate slightly low. So there is no primary base excess. There is no primary base excess. Now in case of alkalosis, You can say that the alkalosis is due to either primary base excess or primary acid deficit. But as the serum bicarbonate is slightly low, so there is no primary base excess. So this is not a metabolic alkalosis. Now coming to the next point, that is the partial pressure of oxygen, that is normal, but the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low. So the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, so here there is primary acid deficit. So it is a case of respiratory alkalosis. Why? Because the alkalosis is due to primary acid deficit. So it is respiratory alkalosis. Clear? Next slide. Now I am coming to the pathogenesis of this case. How the respiratory alkalosis happened in this patient. Now the patient was in dyspnea. Dyspnea means there is difficulty in respiration, and that is due to pneumothorax. Now the first year students, you may not know what is pneumothorax. The pneumothorax is actually when the air from the lungs leaks into the space between the lung and the chest wall. So the air which is supposed to remain inside the lung, which leaks, and where it goes in the space between the chest wall and the lungs. This leads to the condition of pneumothorax. So the patient is having breathing difficulty due to the pneumothorax, and here the patient is given high flow oxygen via mask. And then what happens? The patient is having breathing difficulty. So he or she will have vigor in respiration. So due to vigorous respiration, there will be increased rate and depth of respiration, and this leads to the excess elimination of acids via respiratory route. That is excess elimination of carbon dioxide via respiratory route. So the carbon dioxide is washed off. So the dissolved carbon dioxide will be low in the system. There will be low partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So this is a condition with primary acid deficit in our system. So the acid is in deficit. So there will be relative high of base in the body. And here you may find that there is serum bicarbonate level is slightly low. So there is no metabolic cause here. So this is respiratory alkalosis. This is the pathogenesis behind this case. Next slide. I hope that you have understood the respiratory alkalosis chart. Now we are proceeding to the next part of our discussion. That is another clinical picture. Here, a young woman is admitted in the emergency department with complaining of repeated vomiting. The family members stated that she vomited more than 20 times since yesterday. The patient didn't pass urine for last 6 hours. So there is huge hypovolemia or volume deficit in this patient. So she didn't pass urine for last 6 hours. Her ABG analysis revealed pH 7.48. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide 48 mm of Hg, partial pressure of oxygen 90 mm of Hg, and the serum bicarbonate level is 30 milliequivalent per liter. What is the professional diagnosis here? Now again proceed in the stepwise manner. First look at the pH, it is high, so it is a case of alkalosis. Next, the partial pressure of oxygen is normal, and what is abnormal here? That is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is slightly high. So there is no acid deficit here. So what is the main problem here? The main problem is the serum bicarbonate level, which is out of proportion high. So here it is primary base excess. It is a case of primary base excess as high serum bicarbonate level. But there is slightly high partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So there is no acid deficit. The carbon dioxide, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is enough in the system. So there is no acid deficit. Only primary base excess, primary serum bicarbonate level is high. So it is a case of metabolic alkalosis. Clear? Now next slide. Now we have seen the clinical charts or the clinical pictures of the metabolic and respiratory alkalosis and acidosis. Now let's discuss some amount of the theoretical aspects of the alkalosis. Now alkalosis may be of metabolic and respiratory. By the time you all know these. And the metabolic alkalosis, there is primary base excess, and in respiratory alkalosis there is primary acid deficit. Now look at the causes of metabolic alkalosis. Metabolic alkalosis, that is the primary base excess, may occur in mainly three conditions. What are those three conditions? First is due to the loss of acid rich fluid from GIT that is present in case of this patient, which we have just discussed. The patient vomited more than 10 times and the food from the stomach is washed out, and you all know that there is gastric acidity. So there is hydrochloric acid in the gastric content, and the food mixed with hydrochloric acid is lost. So there is a state of the loss of acid rich fluid from the GIT. So there will be less amount of acid that is present in the body. This leads to the relative excess of the alkali in the system. So this may lead to the metabolic alkalosis, that is the excess of bicarbonate in the body. And metabolic alkalosis may also occur when excess base is added to the system, as well as base elimination from the system is defective. So these are the three main causes of metabolic alkalosis. Loss of acid rich fluid from the GIT, excess base is added to the system, or base elimination is decreased. All these things will be discussed in the later slide in detail. And what is the condition in case of respiratory alkalosis? Here there is primary defect is acid deficit. This occurs when due to increased rate and depth of respiration, carbon dioxide is washed off. So there is acid deficit. This leads to the alkalosis. Clear? Now look at the precise conditions leading to the metabolic alkalosis in this slide. Now remember, the metabolic alkalosis can again be classified into three types. First is chloride responsive, second is chloride resistant, and lastly is exogenous base addition. Now coming to the first heading, that is the chloride responsive. Here the urinary chloride excretion is less than 10 millimole per liter. When these conditions occurs, these conditions of metabolic alkalosis occurs in case of contraction of the fluid volume, that is hypovolemia. Actually, in the hypovolemia, there will be increased reabsorption in the sodium and increased bicarbonate absorption. The excretion of hydrogen ions and potassium ions will be there. And remember, urine chloride will be less than 10 millimole per liter, as both available chloride and bicarbonate is reabsorbed with the sodium. So here in case of hypovolemia, what occurs? That is increased amount of sodium, chloride as well as bicarbonate is absorbed, and there is increased excretion of potassium and hydrogen ions. This leads to an imbalance and leads to the excess bicarbonate accumulation in the system. So here there will be contraction alkalosis or hypovolemia induced metabolic alkalosis. And remember, the chloride responsive metabolic alkalosis can also occur in case of cystic fibrosis. And in next case, that is chloride resistant metabolic alkalosis, the urinary chloride excretion is high, that is more than 20 millimole per liter. These conditions occurs in case of mineralocorticoid excess, glucocorticoid excess and Bartter syndrome. And there is another cause of metabolic alkalosis. This is mainly due to iatrogenic cause. And this iatrogenic cause, what happens? There is increased or very aggressive intravenous therapy of bicarbonate solution may leads to the iatrogenic alkalosis, or there may be milk alkali syndrome. That is, this mainly occurred in the past decades. There, in case of gastritis or peptic ulcer, there is the treatment modality was mainly large quantities of antacids. So this leads to milk alkali syndrome, that is a case of antacid induced metabolic alkalosis. But this is rare today because here there is advent of other better medications for gastritis and peptic ulcer like H2 receptor antagonist and proton pump inhibitors like that. So these are the conditions leading to the metabolic alkalosis. Remember, this is important Viva question. Now next slide. Conditions leading to the metabolic alkalosis is clear. So what is the cause of respiratory alkalosis? The causes of respiratory alkalosis may be classified into three broad headings. First is non-pulmonary stimulation of respiratory center, and secondly the pulmonary disorders, and thirdly some other conditions. Now as we all know that in case of respiratory alkalosis there will be increased drive of respiration, increased rate and depth of respiration leading to the washing out of the acid, that is the carbon dioxide, from the system. So when the increased rate and depth of the respiration occurs, these conditions leads to the respiratory alkalosis. Now look at what are those conditions which may lead to this hyperventilation or increased rate or depth of the respiration. Now the non-pulmonary stimulations of respiratory center includes the anxiety, some CNS infections like meningitis, encephalitis, cerebrovascular accidents, intracranial surgeries, the side effects of some drugs, gram-negative septicemia, etc. And there are some metabolic encephalopathy like liver disorders. These may also cause the non-pulmonary stimulations of respiratory center. And next, the pulmonary disorders leading to the respiratory alkalosis. These are pneumonia. This is very common thing, that is pneumonia. And next is interstitial lung disease and congestive heart failure. These are the very common causes of pulmonary causes of the respiratory alkalosis. And there are some other causes like ventilator induced hyperventilation. Remember, if a patient is suffering from oxygen scarcity in his or her system, the patient may you may put the patient in ventilator, but remember, ventilator should not hyperventilate the patient. If the ventilator induced hyperventilation occurs, then there will be respiratory alkalosis. Now by the time you have understood the conditions leading to the respiratory alkalosis and the metabolic alkalosis. Now we are coming to the end of the discussions. remember that from the chart you will be asked some viva questions. What are the probable viva questions? These are the causes and types of alkalosis. These can be asked. The examiner may ask you the compensatory mechanisms acting in body in case of alkalosis. They may ask the normal body pH maintenance, how the normal body pH is maintained, the important buffer system in the body, why the hemoglobin can act as a buffer, the role of kidney in maintenance of pH, the role of lungs in maintenance of pH. So these are the important and probable viva questions. All these things have discussed in the theory classes. I am not going to the details. Just I am mentioning these questions. So far these are the charts of the alkalosis and acidosis. Thank you for your kind attention.